Hi, I'm Maddi with Maddi Interviews, and today I'm here with our actor, Brent Rogers.
Well, thank you. Thank you for having me here. I've been watching interviews and I really enjoy them. So
I appreciate that. Never had anybody tell me that they enjoy my interviews before. Nobody even says anything about them. But I do have some questions for you.
Sure.
So, would you like to tell us, some things about yourself?
Yeah, I am a aspiring actor. I guess you'd say I'm a green actor still, even though I've been doing this since 2014. Also a Marine Corps veteran. Served in the United States Marine Corps from 1993 to 1996. And I really enjoy acting, and I enjoy the process of filmmaking. I've always been an entertainer from a very young age. I have always been the class clown, the one that made the jokes in school. In my time in the Marine Corps, I was always the one that was getting in trouble. Not bad trouble, but, just, regular fun trouble, I guess you'd say.
Yeah.
And my son, Trevor Wayne Rogers, actually is an actor, and he's in Georgia. But he's the reason why I got into acting is because they were doing a movie in Monroe, Louisiana called Dancer and the Dame, a David A.R. White film.
Yeah.
And they were looking for people for background, and I thought I would give my son a chance to, possibly do some acting. And I messaged the lady, and she said, well, send your son, the information. I said, well, what about an old man, I think I was like 40-something.
Yeah.
40-year-old man, would you be interested in me? And they were like, well, sure, so come on down. So that was my first exposure to acting. And when I got on set, I found that I really enjoyed being on set, and there were people that were like-minded like me. We were all the same cut of cloth as far as our favorite lines from movies and favorite scenes, and it was this this whole bunch of a group of people that I could identify with.
Yeah.
We all had the same love for acting, and I just continued to follow it from there. Networked and found out about filmmaking that was going on in Shreveport. And Shreveport has a pretty big film industry. Worked on Salem for about 2 seasons as a background actor, which is just an extra. But I did get into like photo double, stand-in, even some possible, I guess you'd say stunts, but nothing really big. And I love it. I love being able to look at a character and figure out what's going on in the scene, how it relates to me, and just the whole dynamics of acting, as far as with there's so much to it, so many moving parts. A lot of people don't realize. Everybody thinks acting is easy.
Yeah.
And if it was, then everybody would be doing it. But it's not, because it's not really acting, it's reacting. We are the best lie detectors in the world because we deal with people all the time. You can tell when somebody's being genuine and when they're not. So when you do a scene, and if you're not being genuine, the audience can see it, and they'll see right through you. And that's where you're like, you feel like, well, I didn't connect with that actor when I watched that scene. I didn't feel like, it was real, because we can tell. So you have to be really genuine with your emotions and everything you bring to acting.
Well, that kind of answers my second question, so I'm going to mix it up a little bit. So how did you start?
I have my, telepathy, I could tell.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to switch it up a little bit. So
Sure.
how did you start, acting with Mitch? How did you meet Mitch?
I think we were hanging out in an alley outside of a bar.
Yeah.
He was living in a trash can, and
Sounds about right.
no, I'm kidding. Actually, and I'll drop another name, a very talented person, Catherine Coates. I had met Catherine Coates through a play we were doing in Bastrop, Louisiana, called You the Jury.
Yeah.
And Catherine told me that she had networked with this guy, Mitch, and he was doing a film, and she's like, we ought to meet him and everything. So I networked with Mitch and everything. He told me about this film that he was doing, Sea of Madness, and asked me if I was interested, and I said, sure, let me audition or whatever. And I ended up getting the role of Professor Layton. Yeah. And that was a very eye-opening experience. We shot down on an actual World War II destroyer. The USS Kidd was actually used in World War II. I think you call it, it had battle, what's the word I'm looking for? I can't think of the name. Anyway, it was in war. Yeah. So it was definitely a warship. We shot on this ship at night, long hours.
I wish I was there.
Oh, it was an experience, and actually it was a very an experience that I'll never forget, because I had the script for a long time, and I was learning my character and how I related to everybody else. But there was a scene where I had to sit down at a table with all these actors, all these other great actors, and it was the first time I'd ever been in a scene with that many actors, and I had to like start the scene, and everything just went out of my head. Like my lines and everything just left me. And it was a really scary situation, but we got through it, and that made me, that showed me that, hey, you better know your lines, and you better know everybody else's lines, and that's what a lot of people don't understand. People think you just go out there, your lines. I got to know your lines if we're in a scene, because I got to know my cue lines. Yeah. If I don't know when to come in and talk, then we'll step on each other's lines. So, but that was a very valuable experience, scary experience. But I learned a lot. Yeah, it was really interesting to be on that ship. Being a Marine, it was a naval ship, so I really enjoyed seeing the history of that ship in the museum that we were staying in. The USS Kidd Museum in Baton Rouge. I was like a kid in a candy store with all the military stuff that was in there, the memorabilia and the pictures stuff. But I enjoyed that.
So what films have you been in? Like any of them? It could be with Mitch or just like any.
Well, my first feature film was with Mitch. Would be the Sea of Madness. I have done some short films for some other people. Curtis Everett comes to mind. He's a filmmaker in Mississippi. Blair Kelly is another one. These are up-and-coming directors. And even there's a lady in Shreveport, I don't know if she's still acting, still directing, Tanisha Morgan, and gave me a couple of chances to work on. We did a short film called Blackout, which is still available, I believe, on the Louisiana Film Channel. Give them a plug. I mean, so far, just Sea of Madness, and now the Bog anthology, being able to play the Francois Pierre Frenchman, which I thought was very interesting. I was really glad to be able to be part of that.
I had fun on that set.
Yeah, it was. Every set has its different set of challenges.
Yeah, the Western one was definitely. Mm-hmm. It was a lot in 4 days, but I'm really glad that we actually went on that trip.
Yeah, you're in that, huh?
Yeah, I have like 4 different parts.
Nice.
And then I rode one of the horses in the scene, which is my favorite thing ever.
That'd be a stunt. That's.
Yeah. I love horses, so I'm really glad that Mitch even said that I could do that.
Right.
Okay, but anyways, so how many what stars have you worked with?
Oh wow. Well, when you say work with, I can't say I've been in the scene with anybody interacting. Yeah. But I've been around just about all the big stars: Matthew McConaughey, Tom Cruise, Viggo Mortensen. Golly, Lawrence Fishburne. Yeah. I don't want to drop names because because when you're doing extra work, there's two different paths. A lot of people think that you can become an extra and you can go into acting. Well, sometimes you do end up on a set where you can get upgraded to a principal role, but it's very rare.
Yeah.
If you want to act, then you have to take a separate path. That's a separate path. You need to do acting classes, as many as you can, from as many different acting coaches as you can. And, that's totally different. When you're doing extra work, you're just a piece of the scenery. You'll show up on set on time, always on time. Actually, before, when your call time says 5:30, you need to be there about 5:15. Always be early. There's an old saying, being on time is late, be early.
Yeah.
But yeah, when you're doing extra work, you're just part of the scenery. You're told to stand here. That's your job. You stand there. You don't do anything out of the ordinary, and a lot of extras do that, and I have done that in the past, and I'm guilty of it. But you just walk around. If you're told to walk around, if you're told to come through, do a cross through the camera, that's what you do.
Yeah.
You don't spike the camera like I'm spiking the camera right now. You don't want to do that because that breaks the fourth wall. You just do your job, and that's it. And that's totally different from being a principal. When you're a principal, you're in the scene and you're interacting or whatever, like I'm interacting with you. We have a scene to do together. Then you just you try to create the here and now, what's the present, and to be genuine. You don't want to be fake or look false or anything. So I'm sorry. It's
okay.
I talk too much, I know.
So I only have
too much caffeine.
So I only have a few more questions, and then.
Sure.
Okay. So how do you personally prepare for a role? Is there any certain thing you do?
I really fall back on a lot of. I have a lot of resources.
Yeah.
One of them being just trying to figure out what is going on in the scene, and I'm gonna drop some names here in a minute because I have to give all these people credit because they're amazing. But I figure out what's going on in the scene, who I am in the scene. Say you and I are in a scene together, and I have to substitute somebody. I may not know you.
Yeah.
You may be an actor that I don't know, but I put somebody in your place called substitution. And I would see my one of my friends I'm real close with, depending on the type of scene we're in. I will see my friend in your spot and not you. That way, when we do the scene, it's like I'm talking to my friend. There's so many different ways. I mean, I've studied with so many people. Valika Gray is a acting coach down south. Debbie Godet is another one. Lance Nichols is an excellent acting coach. Mark Craig, who teaches the Chubbuck technique, which is there's method acting and there's different techniques, and the Chubbuck technique is the one I try to utilize. Garrett Kruloff in Shreveport, in a big Shreveport Bossier area film industry. A lot of good actors come out of there. Some of my best friends, Terry Nelson and Cassie Riley, and these people are really good. I think you should try to go to as many acting classes as you can under as many acting coaches, and there's many more. I've left a bunch of people out. Like Jim Gleason is also another one down south. Jeremy London, who is an actor, and I believe he's in Mississippi. Just do as much as you can.
Yeah.
I would say do as much research as you can into, I'd say, whatever your character is doing, whatever your character is in the scene or whatever. So if you're a policeman, I would try to talk to a policeman and try to, learn everything that you can. A doctor, I would try to talk to a doctor, and just that way, so it'll be more genuine.
Like more realistic.
Yeah, more realistic.
Yeah.
Because if you're telling if you don't believe it, when you're acting, the audience is not going to believe it.
Yeah.
And that's where you get into the situation where this is horrible, you know.
Yeah.
I don't believe this guy. I don't believe this guy's a doctor or a policeman or whatever. So I'm sorry I'm rambling.
It's okay.
I ramble on a lot, so.
Well, thank you for coming on this interview today. Of course. Follow me on Facebook and watch all my interviews at Maddi_interviews. Also on TikTok. Oh, and Open Heart Productions.